There is no good terrorism. Today everyone says, losses to honge thode bahut. The line of control is the most manned, most mined line anywhere in the world. 7 teams, 7 targets, 7 hours. In the end, we got to achieve our mission, achieve our aim.
So the first question, sir, is about Galwan. I was in the UK while Galwan happened. The media there that I was exposed to, The Guardian and The Telegraph, sort of treated it differently to how the Indian media did. As students, as citizens, I think we are quite curious to know what really transpired in Galwan, and are we ready to really take on China?
The second question first. Are we ready to take on China? I think yes. Otherwise, China wouldn't have gone back to the 4th April 2020 lines which we wanted. Our stance was status quo ante, and they have actually gone back. De-escalation has taken place, de-induction has not taken place. That means they have not de-inducted from their areas. So that is the first one. We are ready to take them on. But how long can you sustain it? I'm not too sure.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. The question about Galwan. Let me give you a theory why China came. Like I alluded to it, you see, Xi Jinping wants to be greater than Mao. So Mao Zedong is the greatest leader ever in China, and he wants to, ape him. So he wants to settle the boundary questions with India in favorable terms, in his terms, right? So they tried when he came. First time was on 28th of. He took on 13th of March 2013 as the supreme leader, and on 28th of March he met Prime Minister Mr. Manmohan Singh that time and said, out of the syllabus again. It is not the normal talk that boundary question is a legacy problem, will take time, but we should not come on our relationship. He said, let us resolve the boundary question on 29th of March. And this came as a surprise to almost everyone, because this was not even the Chinese readout. Okay, so that is the time when we started seeing different activities along the line of actual control. And the first intrusion came exactly a month later on the 14th of April 2013. I was a DGMO then. After 86, from 86 to 2000, let me tell you, India-China boundary is the most peaceful disputed boundary in the world. The last shot in anger was fired on 24th October 1972. Right. So when they came in, after that in September 2014, when he was visiting Ahmedabad, again in Chumar they came in, which is normal, which normally happens. Every time there's a high-profile visit of a president, vice president, or this thing, the Chinese will come and put pressure on us. That's the Chinese tactics. Then in 2017, they came to a place called Doklam, what you call Doklam,
Yes.
which is very sensitive because near the Siliguri corridor. Why I'm giving this? Because we need to understand that. Most don't understand this. So Galwan was waiting to happen. It was waiting to happen because we did a mirror deployment, proportional deployment. If they brought in 20 troops, we brought in 20 troops. So it was face to face, and we have 5 agreements, which are content building agreements, and we abide by them. The last one was in 2013 October, when I was the DGMO, we made that. And in Galwan, it spiraled out. But still, not a shot was fired in Galwan. Okay. Now, sitting out here, a lot of questions. Why was firing not done? No, how do you fire in a hall like this? You can't fire. There are 100 troops, 150 troops in a mountainside. I have to give, as a leader, I have to give orders of fire. Number so and so, samne, dushman, 2 round fire, 3 round fire. That's the way. It can't be free for all. It's not like a gangster movie where everyone goes in and draws his weapons. And the Chinese didn't fire, by the way. Right. So it was more of a thing which spiraled out at the local level, and which was we suffered, definitely we suffered casualties, and so did the Chinese suffer casualties. But then lot of say, why don't we डॉक्टर आप पूछ रहे थे हमने अपने 5 एयरक्राफ्ट की कैजुअलिटी क्यों नहीं मान रहे, तो चाइनीज ने कोई बोला ही नहीं, कैजुअलिटी में 4 बोलते हैं. तो गलवान में एज पर ऑल मीडिया रिपोर्ट्स आफ्टर so many years they suffered about 43 casualties. Wow. But it is not a balance sheet. We should not be happy that we inflicted 43 casualties. We should be happy that we controlled the spiral.
Yes.
And how we controlled the spiral was on 29th, 30th of August, we went and occupied the Kailash Ridge. They're very sensitive to it because it overlooks Spangur, the gap. And we told them that if you can do it, we can also do it. But though we withdrew after that, and again, good Indians, क्यों वापस आए? तो वापस आए, हम हमारा इरादा क्या था उसको ऑक्युपाई करने? टेल द चाइनीज स्ट्रेटेजिक सिग्नल, सिग्नल हैपेंस. सो वी टोल्ड द चाइनीज कि तुम कर सकते हो, हम भी कर सकते हैं. It's a long boundary, 300-400 kilometers. If you come somewhere, we'll also come somewhere. So after Galwan, and after they gone back, we sorted out Pangong Tso, then other places also. Last one was, Chumar. We sorted it out. So my point is that, like always say, national interest drive, and China realized that it's the national interests of China that India is not anti-China. And it's not national interest. We should not be anti-China. We should be pro-India. There's a difference between being anti-China and pro-India. Okay, so we should be pro-India. Everything should be pro-India.
Building on to that, so recently we have seen news reports which talk about the recent thaw in ties between India and China, and the possible resurrection to the mainstream of the Shanghai, India and China, SIC. And how do you view that? Because now suddenly there is a collaboration taking shape between Russia, India and China against possible US rhetoric on tariffs, US positioning with Pakistan. So are we seeing the world order having a tectonic shift wherein now we are seeing greater cooperation, or we will possibly see greater cooperation between Russia, India and China, rather than what we imagine we would be a greater cooperation between the Quad?
No, you're absolutely right. You see, the RIC, the Russia, India, China trilateral, was last held in October 2013. Okay, then it went to after Xi Jinping came into Depsang and things started going wrong, and so we started drifting towards the US. Then the Russia-Ukraine war broke out. We looked after our own interests. US was not very happy with us. Then India-Pakistan happened. The US is not very happy again, because Trump is Trump, and he runs the foreign policy. Are you on Truth Social, anyone? Truth Social. It is Trump's, Trump's answer to X. Okay, so every morning he gives a tweet out there in Truth Social, and that is how the world is run. The markets fall, the markets fall. So the world is changing. But the fact remains that I think we should be very proud Indians. I'm a very proud Indian. We held our own against US, we held our own against Russia, we held our own against China. We are part of BRICS, we are part of IPSA, we are part of Quad. So we are doing a fine balancing act. It's a balancing act. And when you talk of, it is not a diplomacy. The essential elements of power are diplomacy, informational, military and economic. And I think in all four, we are doing reasonably well. Maybe information we are lagging behind a little. Diplomacy has taken a hit in Sindoor. But overall, if you see, we are doing well. The RSC has been regenerated. The Quad, Mr. Trump is coming for the Quad himself. Now Pakistan wants to play a spoiler, and he wants him to visit Islamabad during the Quad visit. So these are geopolitics, and I will not say a world order. It's a world disorder actually. The world has never been a disorder the way it is today. If you look at the world, it's total disorder. And in that, I think we are not doing badly. We're not doing well also, but we're not doing badly compared to other nations. We're growing at a steady rate. In 2008, we overcame the recession also. So we should start, giving ourselves a pat also at times. Yes. So RSC now, the Russia, India, China trilateral is being revived. I think it's a very good thing. Personally, it's a very good thing. It keeps everyone on their toes, and in the emerging world order disorder, there's a shift from the west to the east. Okay, the UK is not decaying; it is decayed. Sorry, you've been there long enough. So, but that's how I see it. There are problems out there. We have to look at the demographic dividend of India, not demographic disaster. Yeah. And that is where I think I always like addressing the young people, because you are the future. Old saying, but the demographic dividend lies with you.
I would like to draw your attention to the Ministry of External Affairs and how it coordinates with the armed forces, or generally the security forces. We are seeing some of the instances. For example, every time Pakistan raked up the Jammu Kashmir issue, we raked up Balochistan. And famously, our National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is on record saying that you do another Pathankot, and you will lose Balochistan. Another instance that we are seeing, which is more recent, is the affection of ties between India and Canada, wherein clearly a country is being accused of sheltering Khalistani separatist movement. They are throwing back allegations on us, saying that there were some extra governmental killings that India undertook in Canada, and while it is a diplomatic, I don't know whether I should use the word scandal or a debacle. How do the armed forces view such events? Because clearly you as the DGMO knew what was really going on.
See, let me tell you that for the military, it is easier to go to the MEA and be understood than the MOD. Right? If I go to the Ministry of Defense, I have to really bang my head against the wall. But with the MEA, with the Ministry of External Affairs, I don't have that problem. We understand each other, and I'm saying it in the open forum. With Ministry of Defense, I have to go and tell them that they will always ask 10 questions, and then they will want you to do something. But the MEA, I think, whenever you spoke to them, we were on the same page. So that is something which is very good. And now coming to Balochistan, yes, we have given moral support to the Balochistan. Nothing more than that. Nothing more than that. We don't have access to Balochistan. With Afghanistan, our relations, whatever they are, Taliban government is Taliban government. And Taliban government is formulated when the ISI of Pakistan was present in the room. Okay. So today they curse us कि तुम करते हो, करते कहाँ से बताओ? ईरान से हमारी we burned a bridge in Iran. Taliban does not recognize us, or they're softening up fine, but they don't recognize us. So how do we get to Balochistan? You keep blaming us. मुझे एक टेरर कैंप दिखा दो जो बलूचिस्तान का इंडिया में नहीं है. Whereas Pakistan has got 41 terrorist camps. We can name each one of them. Right. So our heart goes out to the Pugyal Baluch. We give them a moral support, but nothing more than that. Right. If you look at it, nothing more than that.
Yes.
And we should not, as a responsible nation, we do not condone terrorism anywhere in the world. That's our stance, and that's how it should be. Good terrorism, bad terrorism. Besides, there is no good terrorism. Terrorism, and we, as a responsible nation, as India, do not support terrorism anywhere in the world.
I think my last question to you, because we are clearly running out of time, but I'm enjoying this too much to stop. Again, let's deviate slightly from what we were talking about. What's happening in the Middle East right now? Clearly, what's happened is India seems to have lost its strategic edge in the Middle East because of the hostilities between Israel and Iran. Because India had developed the Chabahar port, and that was supposed to be our gateway through Central Asia to Europe. A very important economic corridor was taking shape, which was an alternative to the Chinese Silk Route. How do you see the changing balance of equation between India, who's clearly a friend of Israel as much as Iran, who we shared borders with for centuries in the ancient time? How do you see this equation taking shape? What's the way for Indian diplomacy to go forward?
This question was better put to a diplomat, actually. But from a soldier's viewpoint, we need leverage in West Asia. We need oil. So that's very important to us. And so we have to balance out. We need Israel's technology. They've been our fair. Like I said in my talk, China was giving 24/7 coverage to Pakistan during Operation Sindoor. Right. Our coverage is not there. We have limitations of satellites and all. Whatever you may say, we have limitations. Our coverage is about anything 8 hours, 6 hours. So that window of 8 is a lot of window. So the US is not too trustworthy. Let me say that, because whatever they give will be selective and will be filtered, and that is the intelligence all over the world. But how Israel has always stood with us.
Yes.
So we have to balance out what's happening between Israel and the. But even in Middle East countries also, if you look at it, other than supporting Gaza by a voice vote, they're doing nothing much.
Yeah.
They're really not doing anything much. Gaza is in a bad shape, honestly, very bad shape. And Israel thought they'll finish off the Gaza war in no time, but it's been going on and on. So things are changing. The Russia-Ukraine war is a unending war, not an unfinished war anymore. So we should give ourselves a pat. And there's one question you want to ask about special forces.
Special forces, yes. Thank you for the encouragement. You come from the special forces. Growing up, as I said, I was reading a lot from the book of R.N. Kao, and I've been reading about the special forces. We've heard of different terminologies given to the special forces: the Maroon Berets, the Char Vikas, which nobody knows about apparently. The special group which the RAW uses, which draws talent from the special forces. There's a lot of mystique around special forces. I just want to ask you an open question: that how are you different from the others, and how do we perhaps compare with the Navy SEALs or with the US Marines or the SBS, the boat squadron or the air squadron of Britain? How do we compare to the Spetsnaz? How are we different, and how do we compare to the other special forces in the world?
I need 5 minutes.
Please do.
Dr. Chatterjee has been in Agra, so he knows more about special forces because that's the home of the parachute regiment. Now, Indian Army or Indian Armed Forces are the largest voluntary force in the world. Okay, the largest armed forces of the army is basically the Chinese army, but they are conscripts, 40% conscripts. So Indian Army is the largest voluntary force in the world. In this 1.4 million army, anyone can opt for the parachute regiment, the para-SF. So you got to volunteer. So among the largest voluntary force, you got to volunteer. And when you volunteer, you undergo a probation period of 6 months. And what is the aim of the probation period? To break your will. Okay. If you sustain for 6 months, medically, physically, mentally, emotionally, and you fit into the team, you are selected and then trained thereafter. It's not easy. Probation is is worse than hell. Okay, I'm not joking. You get about 2 to 3 hours of sleep every day. Physically, and sir, you'll bear me out. There's no leave. 24/7 you are working. You have to fit into a team. The shortest speed march is 40 kilometers.
Wow.
The longest 100 kilometers with full, with 22 to 23 kgs on your back. You are put through the worst of terrains, the worst of tasks. And an officer, treat like an officer, by the way. There's no officer. You're a probationer. Okay. So that is where the toughness comes in. And as for the operation is concerned, if you look at, Operation Sindoor will be studied by military strategists all over the world. They're studying it already. How did you do it? Surgical strikes of Uri was done by the special forces. 7 teams, 7 targets, 7 hours. The 7 hours was night time. It was a no moon night. Okay. And we did not leave a man behind. Imagine someone, the line of control is the most manned, most mined line anywhere in the world. So we went in to infiltrate. We executed the task. When you execute the task, you fire. Surprise is not there anymore. And there are villages on the line of control, and we all know what happens to villages at night. The dogs bark. Okay. So how did the dogs not bark? The men who are going, उन्होंने क्या किया? पैंथर का, लेपर्ड का यूरिन लेके ऊपर लगाया. That's the thing you have to go into. And when the dogs smelled that, they kept quiet.
Wow.
Okay, that is the detail you have to go in. And we do tasks, and let me feel proud of it, where success is not a probability and failure not an option. Okay, so you go and do it, and that is the belief which comes out of the 6 months of probation and the pride of being the best. Compared to the other forces, the Americans, there's one Operation Eagle Claw in 1975 when 50 odd Americans were taken hostage in Tehran in the embassy.
Yes.
So the American Special Forces went and they botched up everything. All the aircraft went down, all the helicopters went down. They couldn't achieve the task. And then they raised a force called Delta Force, Charles Buckley, right? And they learned their lessons. But even when they neutralized Osama bin Laden at Abbottabad, they left a helicopter behind. So today everyone says, losses to honge thode bahut. So we did suffer, but in the end we got to achieve our mission, achieve our aim. So mission accomplishment is very important, and every soldier, every commando will give his life for his buddy. We function buddies. And mind you, रोंगटे खड़े हो रहे हैं मेरे भी. When you're under fire, you find your men telling me, "Saab, नीचे हो जा, मरेगा क्या?" And they'll give you body protection. Literally, they come in front of you and the firing is going on, so that nothing harms you. And still, we are the maximum leaders in the Hall of Fame belong to our regiment. So they should not be so, but it's.
Yeah, that should draw a huge round of applause.
Thank you.
With that, I thank you for really, expanding our knowledge about the armed forces, about the strategic scenario that India is facing as minds that will enter the corporate world and the industry. You have clearly highlighted the role that they have to play. But at the same time, I think the message that you're leaving behind is that we need to think beyond ourselves. Perhaps the buddy mindset needs to come into the management schools as well. Also, the ability to, what you rightly and very beautifully put, saying that the success should not be a probability and failure is not an option. I think that mindset needs to be brought in as well if India is supposed to become what our Prime Minister has charted us to become over the next 25 years. With that, I thank you, sir, for your time.